So we'll go to Gregory and then we'll go to Luke. Gregory, welcome.
Hi everyone, nice to
Hi.
meet you and happy to be here.
Nice to meet you too.
Um,
Thank you for being here with us.
so I have a question. We said that awareness is already here and always here. Um, so you were talking about a current, and that's something I can really feel tonight. Um, However, a couple of months ago, I had this experience where I had really a shift, and I could clearly, yeah, be in the now, and yeah, having this raw experience, which was not in the mental, in the mind, and there was clearly a shift before and after, which lasted for an evening. Um, so yeah, when we say there is yeah, awareness is already here now, yeah, I don't have the same shift. um so that's why I'm a bit confused, because I don't know if, yeah, I should expect to be in this same kind of experience, because it's different. So that's why I don't really get the point to say it's already here and now.
Thank you. Thank you for your question and for sharing. So let me see if I've understood you correctly. What you had this experience recently. It lasted for some time, an evening, and
Mhm.
then sorry,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
yeah, and then it went away. And then you also hear these teachings that awareness is here already now, always. So, am I correct? Is your question like, well, this thing that happened to me, it changed, something shifted. So, that was a change, that was something different. So, is your question, why are we saying awareness is always here now if what you experienced was something different? Is this your question?
Yeah, this is my question. Yeah, when I had this shift, everything was super clear. Like, if I can see the bottom of the sea, if you remove the water, I could really see
Beautiful.
something very clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not something I have. Like tonight, I feel this current, but I don't have the same shift that I had a couple of months ago. So my question is it supposed to be here all the time, this clear vision, or not actually?
Mm, yeah, I see. I understand your question. Yeah. It's like, hang on a sec. This awareness is here always, people say. We hear people say this, right? Various teachers say this. You read
Mm-hmm.
it in books. And then the clarity, let's call what you had the clarity, that clear vision, you called it, the clear seeing, like the water in a lake suddenly became clear. Imagine you're looking at a lake and you can't see much. You just see, you know, you can't see much. And suddenly the whole thing becomes clear. You can see everything. Everything is clear. It's like a light being turned on. And you're pointing out a fact in your experience, which is that that clarity is not here now. It was there then, but it's not here now. Maybe this current or something else is here now, but not that clarity. That clarity is not here now, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
And then people say the awareness is always here. Well, that clarity is not always here, though. Okay. So let us unpack this a bit. This clarity that you describe, typically, typically that happens when an element of our identity, our sense of self, falls away. And when that falls away, there's an immediacy, a clarity that results. Normally, we see everything through like a veil, a haze. It's almost like a mesh in front of us. It's not literally in front of us, but it's like seeing, if we use the analogy of vision, it's like seeing through a mesh. And that mesh is our thoughts, our ideas, our concepts, our our thoughts about the past, our thoughts about the future, and our thoughts about ourself, the body mind, our thoughts about the body mind and our life and the past and the future. These thoughts, when these thoughts momentarily fall away, then they're no longer obscuring our sense perception. So the whole world becomes vivid, becomes clear, and it's experienced as clarity. But that is usually short-lived. That is usually that clarity will not be sustained, especially the first time. Now, these kinds of experiences, they can occur differently in different people. Often they occur spontaneously, but sometimes it can be a response to a spiritual practice, a spiritual teaching. But not always. Sometimes it can be spontaneous. Sometimes it can happen to someone, even if they have no interest whatsoever in spiritual teachings, in non-duality, and any of this stuff. Because the mesh, the veil that is obscuring the clarity is a form of our own thinking. Even drugs can create. I do not recommend people take drugs, by the way. But but if even some people, when they take drugs, it can momentarily cause this clarity. It can stop, it can arrest the thoughts, the thoughts of the past, thoughts of the future. This clarity often is a profound experience. Some people, many of us will have had these episodes perhaps as children, but we don't have the intellectual capacity to contextualize it or to understand it. So some of us would have had experiences like this as a child, but we wouldn't have recognized it as being a profound experience, perhaps. It would have just been, something that happened and then went. So it can be a profound experience. It can show us there's a different way of experiencing this life. You understand? But what the mistake many people make is they mistake this sense of clarity for liberation. And this sense of clarity is not liberation. It's an opening. So it's a gateway. It's a door. It's almost like an invitation, if you will. There's an invitation to say, look, there's a different way of experiencing life. Go deeper. Look harder. Seek. This it doesn't have to be just, the boring old mundane everyday life. There is something else that can happen. There's a different way of perceiving things. But that in itself is not liberation. That clarity is not usually sustainable. May I ask you, Gregory, what happened to you? How did it, do you remember it slipping away? Do you remember this clarity kind of falling away? Or Can you tell me about that?
It was just overnight, so the morning it had disappeared. However, that happened to me 2 or 3 times maybe. But yeah, that one year ago it lasted a full evening. Yeah, and I said, okay, I hope tomorrow it will be still there. But yeah, when I woke up, it wasn't there anymore.
And what was the difference?
I was back in my identification, so the veil was back there in front of me as usual.
And what is this veil? How do you experience the veil? You said identification. Tell me what you mean, please, if you're able to.
Yeah, so when I had this clarity, I could really see my thought. So yeah, my thoughts were not like part of me, but they were really like almost like object. So I could see them coming, let them go. Yeah, it's some kind of love as well. So towards people, I could understand things better in my relationships, see relationship more clearly. So that was really enjoyable as a feeling. Yeah, I felt really good, and I had really the feeling to be present, to be present, as you said, to see the world from another point of view, and to be really here, with the nature, with the trees, with the sound, with all the senses.
Yeah,
So my mind was not between myself and the outside
the,
world,
the
let's say.
world, exactly. Yeah. So it sounds like, please tell me, it sounds like the way I described it, it sounds like that. Well, how did you feel about my description? Did that sound accurate to you?
Yeah, it sounds accurate. Yeah. Mhm.
That's good. Yeah, these sorts of experiences come and go. They have to. They have to come and go. They cannot be sustained. The brain, the mind cannot sustain that. It's like a flow state, you know. Some people describe this when they're listening to music or when they're playing tennis or when they're singing or when they're dancing, you know.
Mhm.
You get into this state where the thoughts are not getting in the way. The worries about yesterday, about tomorrow, about me, about he, her, this, that. The worries about the things are no longer, everything's clear. There's a beauty. If you're lucky, not always, there's a beauty. Well, there's usually a sense of beauty. Maybe if you're lucky, there's a sense of love, even. It's not always, it varies. The depth, the dynamic of it varies depending on exactly what kind of thought has fallen away and how mature the person is. You know, often when it first happens, you won't feel that sense of love or peace. Um, but I'm very glad you did. And but it is not sustainable, right? Because unless if you especially if you're a householder, by householder I mean somebody who has responsibilities in daily life. Maybe you have to earn money. Maybe you have a family to look after, you know. Maybe you've got to go to work or whatever. You're a householder. You see, once you start having to do things, initially maybe that clarity will be maintained. There's like a sense of intimacy and a sense of distance simultaneously. There's a sense of no mesh, no filter. So everything's clear and intimate. But at the same time, there's a sense of objectivity. And this is an aspect of clarity. But inevitably in your daily life, you have to get caught up in your thoughts to live. It's not possible. You will see. it is not possible to live ordinarily without those attachments. So they'll have to come back. Liberation is not like this at all. Liberation is fundamentally different to clarity. With liberation, it's irrevocable, meaning you cannot go into it and then come out of it again. It can't fall away. Once it's happened, it's happened. It's absolute. It's irreversible. It's a one-way street. Yeah. If it wasn't, then there'll be no point to it. Because if you can get it and then it disappears, it's just like anything else. It comes and goes. You understand? Liberation is something different. It is not, you cannot put liberation into words. It's far deeper than clarity. And one mistake people make is they experience this clarity, or they may call it something else. And then they try and get it back again. Usually, usually it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible for the mind not to try and get it back again. Yeah. I say it's a bit like a child. The first time you give child chocolate or an ice cream, right? It's such an overwhelming experience, such a wonderful experience. They want more, right? You can't give a child something they like intensely and then expect them not to want more. They will want, the mind will start to suddenly that child who was before innocent and naive, now they're seeing everything in terms of chocolate. They're like, oh, what can I do to get some more chocolate? How can I talk to mum to get some more chocolate? How can I talk to dad to get some more chocolate? Maybe if I'm good, I'll get some more chocolate. Maybe if we go to the shops, I'll get some more chocolate. You know, this is the way the mind will work. Yeah. There's an impression is made on the mind, and the mind will start to seek it. Yeah. So often the seeker will try and seek it. And this, I had my first experience like this, Gregory, when I was 18. And it happened to me when I was reading a book. And so I started reading loads and loads of books. Why? Because I was trying to get the experience back. And I tried to get that experience back many times for several years afterwards. I didn't have anyone to guide me. So the first thing is most people try and get that experience back again. And the second thing is we think logically, we think, if I could just get it back, one, and then if I could just maintain it for longer. That's the second one, usually. People say if I can get it, but first get it back, and second, maintain it for longer, you see. And these are both mistakes. But this is usually what people do. Makes sense, it's logical. But liberation is very different to this clarity. See, clarity is for a person. Clarity is still for a person. You might think, oh, there was no one there. But there was. It was for Gregory. It wasn't for, Gregory's friend or Gregory's sibling or, you know, Gregory's associate. It was for Gregory. It wasn't, liberation is not for a person. In clarity, there's still a duality that's there. Yeah, you may feel a oneness with everything, but you don't literally think you are everything. Like I'm going to pick up, this is my phone here, right? So there might be a oneness in clarity. There might be a sense of being one with the phone, but you still don't think you're the phone. Part of the clarity is to realize you're not the phone is not you, even though you may feel one with it. But non-duality is total dissolving of any sense of identity. This is why it can't come back, because it's total dissolution. It's fundamentally different to clarity. Now, I should say that many teachers, especially in the West, but increasingly now in the East as well, when they describe liberation, they're basically describing clarity. And that is not liberation. So you will, if you listen to other teachers, you may well hear them talking about liberation in the same way you describe your experience. I would say that those teachings are, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them per se, but they're not, I would say that they're not truly liberating. Those ones that talk about liberation and clarity as being the same kind of thing is like, because that is not a sustainable state of mind, nor is it actually, if you think about it, as pleasant and as nice as it was, it's not actually desirable because you cannot actually do your full range of functioning in that place. You might feel like you can, but you can't. And that's why the brain ends it at some point, you know. The brain creates that state when usually in a secure environment. Usually, again, it can vary a lot. So this is not always true, but often when it's a secure environment with with a small number of variables, right? And then it will be able to go into this flow state, this state of clarity, because it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to worry too much. This is why, like, if you're playing tennis, right? And let's say you're a great tennis player, and you're playing tennis. It's a very confined area. Literally, you're on a tennis court. There are only a few things that can happen. You're basically hitting a ball from one side of the court to the other. So the brain doesn't have to think about too much. Yes, there's a lot of skill involved, but if you're practiced, you know about it. Same with dancing, same with singing. You're in a relatively safe, contained environment, which not much, you know pretty much what kind of thing is going to happen. The brain can switch off a part of it, the part that's thinking about the past, the part that's thinking about the future, and there's more of an opportunity for it to drop away. Now, that's not the case with drugs and stuff, because obviously that kind of bypasses things. Most drugs are toxins, they're poisons. I mean, you can argue that all drugs are poisons, you just have to have a high enough dose, and it'll kill you. But the lower doses, they shut off parts of your brain. They basically poison parts of your brain, hopefully reversibly. And then these parts of your thoughts would go away and you experience clarity or a form of clarity. But it's just the drug is shutting off parts of your brain. If you do it without drugs, your brain's voluntarily shutting off an aspect of itself in a certain environment, in a certain situation. One of the problems is once you try and get it back again, that part of the brain that's seeking it again is the past future orientation. You see, the brain, like that child who's had chocolate for the first time, before they were just wandering around life, taking it as it comes. They weren't thinking about trying to get this, trying to get that. They're like, oh, look, there's a house. Da 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 da. Oh, look, there's a tree. Oh, look, there's mummy. Oh, look, there's daddy. Oh, that's my house, whatever. Suddenly it has an intense experience, let's say chocolate, and it loves it. Now everything's like, how can I get some more chocolate? How can I get some more chocolate? Is that tree made of chocolate? Oh, no, it isn't. Is there chocolate behind the tree? Oh, no, there isn't. So this part of our brain is activated, which is seeking, and that actually obscures or reduces the chance of getting this experience back. Anyway, then leads on to the question, well, what do we do now? How do we attain liberation? What do we do now? And I always recommend people learn about Bhagavan Ramana's teachings because what they do, they allow us in a systematic way to come back to ourselves and discover something far deeper and more fulfilling, believe it or not, than clarity. It's much nicer than clarity, much more wholesome, much healthier than clarity. As wholesome as healthy clarity feels, there is still something barren about it. There's still something, it's not full. It's usually slightly empty. Whereas liberation is total fullness, it's total fulfillment. There's nothing lacking at all. There's no confusion, and there's no possibility of confusion. There's actually no possibility of clarity in it either. All we can say it is the perfect clarity. I'll stop now anyway, but I hope that's helpful for you. Do you have any response to what I've said? A lot of things. Hope it's not too much, I've said, but what do you think?
It was very clear, and thanks for taking the time to make this answer. Um, so I just would like to come back on the yeah, when we say it's already here now, how should I understand that then? I
Yes.
understand that clarity is not liberation, but what about this? It's already here and now.
Yes. So we are not saying clarity is already here now. That's the first thing, because we're not talking about clarity. Because clarity is not the same as liberation, as
Mhm.
wonderful as it is. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness that comes and goes. And it's a wonderful thing. And it opens up to us to something else, but it is not liberation. Once we realize that, the best thing to do with clarity, if you can, is to forget all about it. Forget all about it. Say thank you. You know, for me, I would say thank you, Bhagwan. Thank you for this experience. You can say, if you believe in God, you can say thank you, God. If you don't believe in God, you can just metaphorically say thank you very much. See you later. Now, obviously, it's a bit like telling a child to forget about chocolate, right? So you may not be able to forget about it. It might keep on coming back into your brain. That happens, that's fine. Allow it to keep on coming back. And then eventually you'll forget about it. You are always here. What is always here? I tend not to use the word awareness. This is quite a popular word. There's nothing wrong with that word. I tend not to use it. And maybe at some point in the future, I can explain to you why. There's a reason why I tend not to use that word. But you are always here. You are always here. Wherever you go, you are there. Whatever experience you're having, you're there. Now, what Bhagavan taught us and teaches us, what Ramana teaches us, is that what we are is something profoundly special, profoundly beautiful, a treasure, a great treasure. But we don't realize that we are this great treasure that we are seeking. We are seeking this great treasure, but it is just ourself. And what we are is always here. And if we discover what we are, that is liberation, also called self-knowledge. Notice how that is totally different phrasing, language, to clarity. The language of clarity is more like the it's something falling away. It's like, I don't know, there's some kind of thinking falling away and everything becoming vivid in a sensual way, sensory way. That's typically something like clarity. But self-knowledge is not like this. Self-knowledge is deeper. It's discovering yourself as actually total infinite love. And not in a conceptual way, but a genuine way. So you are always here. Whether there's clarity, no clarity, whether it's hot or cold, whether you're in Belgium or you're in the UK, you're always there. So that is always available to us. What we are is always available to us. How to access it, this is what we have to discover. Now, that is not the same as what everyone else is saying necessarily. Not all teachers are saying what I'm saying. So you might have to discern what other teachers mean by that. What other teachers typically mean is that there's a sense of awareness that's always present. So no matter what's happening, there's always awareness there watching, or awareness there aware. That's what they're talking about, usually, in my experience at least. That what most teachers are saying is that there's an awareness that's always present no matter what's happening. It's always there, and it's always seeing everything clearly. Whether you feel good, whether you feel bad, whether you're confused, whether you're not confused, there's an awareness of that. So when you're feeling, when there's clarity, there's an awareness of clarity. When the clarity goes, maybe you wake up the next morning, the clarity's gone, the awareness is still there. The awareness of the clarity, the awareness of clarity was there, and now the awareness of clarity having gone is there. So that's usually what teachers are meaning when they point to the awareness always being present. That by itself is a wonderful teaching, but it is not liberating. We have to discover ourselves as we truly are. Liberation. Liberation is like another dimension. It's the only truth there is, and its nature is total love, but not an idea of love, actual love. It's beyond comprehension. Does that answer the question, or do you still need more clarity? Do you need still more different answer from me? Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Tom. It was very clear and it helped me a lot. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Good evening.
Appreciate you being here and sharing your experience and asking your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.